Okay, the piece that you're about to see is called Fear, Loathing, Garbage, Asshole Gringos, Shitty Restaurateurs, Corrupt Comandantes, en el Pueblo Chico, Infierno Grande de San Carlos. And I know that's a long title, but it kind of describes the whole shit show that you're about to watch. I kind of came out of retirement to do this video because I thought in the moment of where we are in Mexico, with all of the violence and fear, corruption by the police, I thought that this was actually an important project to do. So I came out of kind of retirement from doing independent journalism and produced this piece. It took me over a month to find the witness and actually convince him to just go on camera and tell what the story of what he saw to prove that the police lied. Not that everybody didn't know the police were lying, but this kind of proves it. And, you know, I'd like to keep producing these works of journalism, so I started a Patreon account. And you can go to the Patreon account, and if you would like to see me continue to produce works of independent journalism here in San Carlos, I've been doing it for years, but now we've got kids in college, and it's time consuming to do these pieces. If I have enough support from the community, I'd like to continue to produce these works. And so if you thought that this piece was interesting and worth the time and effort that went into it, think about donating a small amount to the Patreon account. Thank you very much. On the 8th of August, the Comandante of Police in San Carlos arrested David Bariff, an American citizen living in San Carlos with the immigration status of permanent residency, for no other reason than a phone call from Ruben Pinto, owner of Charlie's Rock. Bariff was protesting the stinky and frankly disgusting garbage pile that used to be deposited on the Malecon but was now moved directly in front of Bariff's house. After months of complaining, plenty of verbal abuse on both sides of this stinky coin, Bariff put up several signs at his house in protest. This is clearly not a police matter. Bariff's biggest mistake was he never went to the office of Comisario and talked with Enrique Gomez. Enrique could have easily dealt with the situation, and it would have prevented Bariff from illegally getting tossed in the Huscao. The question is, should Bariff have been arrested for protesting garbage, or did the Comandante go a little too far in his favor for Ruben?
Mi nombre es Enrique Gámez, yo soy el comisario de aquí de San Carlos. Referente al asunto de la basura con un norteamericano y con un restaurante conocido aquí de San Carlos, aquí en la comisaría de San Carlos no estábamos enterados absolutamente de nada. No sabíamos la problemática que tenían entre la basura y los vecinos, porque aquí a esta comisaría nunca se acercó nadie a pedirnos el apoyo, tal vez porque tienen desconfianza, porque otras administraciones anteriores no sentían el apoyo de esta comisaría, pero yo quiero decirle a la gente que tengan confianza en nosotros y que se acerquen, y cualquier problema que tengan, ya sea de basura, de alumbrado o con un vecino, cualquier tipo de problema, que nos tengan la confianza y se acerquen, porque en esta administración, o estando yo aquí al frente, quiero hacer las cosas diferentes. Yo también soy vecino de aquí, me interesa, me preocupa, y si quiero hacer yo un cambio y quiero ayudar a los residentes, ¿no? Entonces, referente al mismo tema que te digo, yo no estaba enterado. Si hubiese estado enterado, con mucho gusto hubiéramos atendido al llamado, hubiéramos tratado de buscar una solución antes de haber antes que hubiera pasado lo que pasó, ¿no?
About 10 days after Bariff's arrest, we got lucky and Enrique arranged a private meeting with the new Comisario of Police in Guaymas, Andres Cano Aguirre. Aguirre is a military man. In our meeting, he was really a nice guy. He'd like to see police with body cams. We discussed bilingual police force for San Carlos. But he did have to back up his Comandante, and he had to toe the line a bit. So he gave us the official reason of why Bariff was arrested, which is this. When the police arrived to talk to Bariff, he raised his voice, got aggressive with the Comandante, and refused to show officials any form of ID. Now that's a little hard to believe, that a short gringo is going to pick a fight with 5 heavily armed paramilitary police. But that's the official story they would have us believe. Okay, here's the other problem with this issue. The police never wrote up an official report. So the only bit of paperwork that exists is down at the judge's office.
Pues venimos a pedir lo que es el acta de la detención, ¿no? Y ahorita no lo tienen archivado, lo van a buscar, porque están en el almacén, están en archivos, entonces ya una vez que lo encuentren nos van a dar todo el informe completo.
Juan Carlos, rapidito, explícame por qué te metiste aquí en este asunto como ciudadano.
Bueno, existe un antecedente. Hace 2 años levantaron a unos jóvenes en San Carlos y de ahí se desató toda una guerra, ¿no? Entonces ahorita venimos a investigar si fue el procedimiento adecuado para traer a este joven aquí. Entonces nos van a pasar el reporte y en base al reporte que nos den vamos a sacar nuestras conclusiones.
Juan Carlos was actually able to convince the judge's office to allow him to read the report from a computer screen. We were never given a hard copy. The report from the judge's office said that the reason Mr. Bariff was arrested is because he was playing his stereo too loud. So now we have 2 conflicting reports by the authorities on why Bariff was hauled downtown. The police say that when they showed up at his house, he was combative, aggressive, and refused to show ID. The judge's office said he was playing his stereo too loud. Mr. Bariff tells a totally different story. And by the way, so does the eyewitness that we finally tracked down. The day that you put the lonas up, start from there.
Well,
It's Wednesday, correct?
Well, I put the lonas up before that.
Oh, okay.
And so it kind of started maybe a week before I put up one lona, and then I put up another one and got Ruben's attention. And then on Thursday morning, I put up the big one that said that this is a riesgo biológico y amenaza de salud pública.
Right.
And that really kind of ticked him off, along with the one that said, you're a drunk pig.
Right.
I left that with plausible deniability because it just said you are, didn't say who.
There was little confusion on who it was.
Most people weren't confused.
There was no confusion, trust me.
And so that morning, I came out to just in front of my yard, and I was just like messing with one of the signs, and all of a sudden the police came like a SWAT team, man. They were on me, dude, like a SWAT team. And I tried to
like on you.
Well, I was right there in front of, like, by the palm tree.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just came, and I tried to go to the gate, and they all jumped out, guns, and they just grabbed me, threw me against the truck, and put me in cuffs and threw me aboard.
They didn't question you at all before?
No, and I'm like, what's going on? I didn't do anything. And they
didn't wait. So
no, they
didn't question you at all. They showed up, they threw you against the wall, they handcuffed you.
Yes, immediately.
Entonces David sale de su domicilio porque piensa que le van a hacer caso a él, ¿me entiende? Porque ya había puesto muchas quejas y ya estaba muy molesto. Entonces sale David pensando que lo van a ayudar a él y lo agarran, ¿me entiende? Lo someten ahí mismo y David se asusta y empieza a gritar auxilio, auxilio, auxilio. Y yo me quedé así como asombrado, dije, ¿qué está pasando? Y que se supone que según iban a ayudarle a David, no a hacerle daño. Y fue inmediato, lo que pasó fue como en 5 segundos, así, lo agarraron, lo sometieron, lo aventaron arriba de la patrulla y se lo llevaron. Y ya no supe yo si qué más pasó.
Fue inmediatamente.
Inmediatamente.
Es que porque la versión de la policía es, ellos llegaron, bajaron de la patrulla y empezaron a platicar con David. Ajá. Y luego él se puso agresivo con 5 gentes con armas largas, ¿no? Ellos dicen que se puso agresivo, subió la voz y por eso lo arrestaron. Eso no es lo que viste usted.
Eso yo no vi nada de eso.
Okay, well, there you have it. That's why the police here in Mexico don't have a lot of credibility. They lie quite often, and of course I know that the police in the United States lie as well. They seem to get away with it a lot more here. I don't know. Anyway, we have asked the Comandante of San Carlos and the Comisario in Guaymas, the new military Comisario, to please don't do this anymore. Please don't arrest people with no reason whatsoever. I mean, to waste the police's time on an incident like this when there are so many other things in this area that are so much more important than an argument about garbage between a couple of neighbors. We hope they'll listen to us. Again, if you enjoyed the report, we have a Patreon account, and feel free to donate a couple of bucks if you liked this content. I would like to produce some more if I can. Thanks a lot. Hasta luego.